Man, the UK has had it rough lately when it comes to their fictional icons being portrayed to the modern media. What do you guys have left that just hasn't been desecrated? We all saw the Daniel Craig James Bond movies, and yeah, the vast majority of those weren't good. Well, what about Sherlock Holmes? Right, okay, the show Elementary ruined him. Well, clearly you got Robin Hood. No, wait. No, Robin Hood got ruined by Canada and Director X. Okay, well, The Institution, Doctor Who. No, Doctor Who, yeah, Jodie Whittaker and now Ncuti Gatwa. You guys have anything left? No, not at all? I guess they've decided to double dip then. They're gonna ruin Watson and Sherlock Holmes yet again. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idol, and that's right, CBS, the people who did the Elementary show that nobody really cared because they were too busy watching Sherlock, an actual good adaptation of Sherlock Holmes, is set to do another Sherlock Holmes show, at least Sherlock Holmes based, called Watson, about what's Hollywood's oldest trick in the book now? A race-swapped Watson. So we're gonna get into this article for Bounding Into Comics. Before we do, hit that subscribe button. We are trying to make a big push for subscribers in 2024 because, look, it's going to be a crazy year. The nerd culture is going up the rails. I thought we were doing great for so long. I defended a lot of 2023, and now 2024 is here to just check me at the door. CBS to race swap Sherlock Holmes' famous partner for new Watson television series. And look, I got nothing against this guy. He's a handsome guy. He's probably a good actor. All he's doing is taking a job. Nothing against the actor himself. I bet he will do a fine job at acting. But there's a little bit more to this than just acting. I mean, again, we're talking about some classic British characters, whether it be Sherlock Holmes, whether it be Robin Hood, whether it be Doctor Who, whether it be James Bond. Oh, we didn't even mention J.R.R. Tolkien and the bastardization that was the Rings of Power. Again, the UK just has nothing left that hasn't been destroyed, torn asunder. And kicking off the new year with a dip into Hollywood's favorite and creatively bankrupt storytelling trope, CBS has given the green light to Watson, a soon-to-be television medical drama set focusing on the adventures of a race-swapped version of Sherlock Holmes' iconic ally. Now, first of all, I do have to ask the question, who's asking for this? Like, I'm not going to say it can't work. You can't just take a sidekick and make them the main character. It doesn't work often because it's rarely done well. Robin comics kind of get canceled quite a bit when they're not, with Batman. Well, how many video games are there where Tails is the star instead of Sonic? Oh, right, there's two. And they're both from the 90s, and they never made any more. Okay, the point is, I mean, I'm sure it'll work this time, right? We've seen sidekick characters get thrown by the wayside time after time. Where are we at with that, Lone Ranger Tonto expansion? Like, is that what anybody is asking for? Like, I get it. People like Watson. This isn't original. It's gonna be a medical drama, apparently. So what? You're giving us, House, but with the skin of Sherlock Holmes because you need some sort of big IP to make money? Because think about that. House couldn't get made today. House is an original idea, so of course it couldn't get made today. And that's where we're at with this. Now you're just cherry picking from famous IPs. Leave the race swapping aside. We'll get to that in a moment, but let's leave the race swapping aside. Now you just cherry pick from previous IPs so that you can, build up an entirely new TV show using that IP as the basis, when in all reality, nobody would watch your show if it weren't for the fact that it was tied to something that's got somewhat of a famous following. It's kind of sickening when you think of it. Now, there's a place for spin-offs. Of course there's a time and place for spin-offs. There have been some great spin-offs. Frasier is an awesome spin-off. Obviously, I've said many times, I'm excited, at least so far, I'm relatively excited, minus, pending some CGI fixes, for the Furiosa film, the Mad Max spin-off. That Ballerina is coming out this year. Ballerina is a John Wick spin-off. So I'm not saying spin-offs can't work. This isn't a spin-off of anything. This is just someone using the Sherlock Holmes IP with some sort of weird what-if scenario to give us a, second-hand version of what sounds like House, by the way that, this article is sounding. Created by Craig Sweeney, the executive producer of Network's previous Sherlock Holmes adaptation, Elementary, which again, I watched Elementary, here and there, but it was crap. Sherlock was so much better. Why are they giving us this Watson show when we could be getting season 5 of Sherlock? Come on, Cumberbatch, are you really telling me you ain't gonna come back for season 5 of Sherlock? Did all the Doctor Strange money go to your head? Set to star as Amazon's Goliath actor Morris Chestnut as the series' eponymous protagonist. This upcoming reimagining of Arthur Conan Doyle's classic character, they say reimagining, but it's not very imaginative. Do you want to know what was imaginative? The Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. That was imaginative. Like Dr. Watson as a cyborg, Sherlock Holmes being unfrozen from cryogenic sleep. Okay, that was imaginative. A house with a black Dr. Watson, not particularly imaginative, but again, that's just me. Anyway, per an official series logline provided to Variety, will see the titular hero resume his medical career as the head of a clinic dedicated to treating rare disorders. It literally is Dr. House, the head of a medical clinic dedicated to treating rare disorders. That is what every single episode of House was talking about. I was making a joke to try and be pedantic, but oh my goodness. Watson's old life isn't done with him, though. It then teases the series' driving conflict. Moriarty and Watson are set to write their own chapter of a story that has fascinated audiences for more than a century. Look, I've read my fair share of some Sherlock Holmes stories. In fact, believe it or not, I was a theater kid growing up. If you wonder why I've got such wacky and exaggerated facial and hand movements when I do this whole YouTube thing, it's because your boy was a theater kid. I love doing stage makeup. I love acting. I was gonna be the next Johnny Depp, and then realized that when you live in the Midwest and you don't want to travel to New York or California, yeah, your dreams die before they've even begun. But the point is, yeah, I've been in some plays. In fact, one of them was a Sherlock Holmes play where I played Watson and my buddy was playing Sherlock Holmes. And the whole point of the play, it's this big, long joke where at the end, it turns out that Sherlock Holmes is a moron and Watson was the brains behind it the whole time. It was a fun play. You know, we did it in theater and we got to perform it. I had a great time. But obviously, it's more of a spoof than anything else. I still bet that was more lore accurate to the source material than this right here, because look, Moriarty of course knows who Watson is. He's he's the Robin to Sherlock Holmes' Batman, but I don't see any reason Moriarty would go after Dr. Watson. He's not the effectively autistic brain mind that Sherlock is. Moriarty goes after Sherlock for the thrill. They go after each other for the thrill. Yes, of course, Moriarty has aspirations as a big evil villain, but he also loves and relishes the challenge that Sherlock, the greatest detective, brings him. Moriarty doesn't really look at Watson that same way, so why would he be trying to sabotage Watson? Again, if not maybe to get Sherlock involved. I mean, it hasn't said anything in the article. Maybe there's going to be an actual Sherlock character in this, but this whole thing it seems off to anyone that knows their Sherlock Holmes lore. Alongside his role as the series creator, Sweeney will also serve as Watson's showrunner and executive producer, with Chestnut joining him in the latter capacity. Further, Marvel's Runaways director, does anyone even know what the Runaways is? Look, all of Marvel's recent outings have ran away from me mentally because I don't even remember him or think about him anymore, is set to helm and produce Watson's first episode. Speaking of Variety and promotion of the series' upcoming production, the president of CBS Entertainment, Amy Reisenbach, beamed, "We are thrilled to feature such a beloved character from the world of Sherlock Holmes at the center of this series and have it brought to life by Morris Chestnut in a fresh, unexpected take on the immortal Doctor." Now again, no shade to Morris Chestnut. Again, handsome guy. I'm sure he's going to be a good actor. But is this really fresh and unexpected? Like, you can just give me a series. Throw a dart at a dartboard that has a bunch of different series on it. Like, Jaws. Throw it, hit Jaws on the dartboard. All right, I bet they're going to give us a race swap Jaws TV show. Okay, throws at the dartboard. Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, they're most certainly giving us race-swapped live-action American-produced Yu-Gi-Oh! This year. Like, it's not fresh and unexpected anymore. It's trite, boring, tired. There's literally nothing about race-swapping a character that's been around that was traditionally an old English white character and making them black and putting your new spin on a genre that's been done to death. So I get tired of these buzzwords like fresh and unexpected that the Amy Reisenbach is using. Also, they call him the Immortal Doctor, and that's super funny to me because yes, this is a British IP, but when you hear the Immortal Doctor and you think of British IPs, yeah, I think she's confusing Dr. Watson with Doctor Who, which is pretty hilarious. And if you don't know what I did a Doctor Who video earlier today. If you haven't watched that, check it out, because it's just as mind-numbingly dumb as what we're seeing here. Craig Sweeney's bold new vision for the complex Dr. Watson deftly interweaves rich character storytelling with edge-of-your-seat medical mysteries. For some reason, given how modern Hollywood writers write to this day, I highly doubt that. These are the same people that are in danger of robots taking their jobs, and yeah, I just don't believe there's going to be any well-written component to this. When was the last time you popped on a CBS series and thought, wow, what a well-written television show? As noted above, with its greenlighting, Watson will exist as the second adaptation of Doyle's seminal work produced by CBS within the last decade. Again, they're double-dipping. It was 2012 when Elementary came out. And is this the best you got? Like, did you see Robin Hood by Director X? Did you see how the internet ran with it, destroyed it, and it became one of the most hated things on the internet? Do you think that you don't run the same risk? I mean, to be fair, you're not going to be as antagonistic, and this isn't going to be, a small limited release show that accidentally gets blown up. But yeah, I don't think this will be as bad as Robin Hood, but I think there's some potential for it to at least be a bit of a comparison. In 2012, the network premiered the aforementioned Elementary, a procedural drama which took the 19th century mystery-solving duo's adventures and transposed them upon modern-day New York setting. To this end, it is also of interest to note that, like Watson after it, Elementary also made a significant physical change to its physical depiction of the Good Doctor, specifically thanks to network's casting of Shazam and the Fury of the Gods actress. Of all the things that Lucy Liu has been in, of all the, you go with Shazam, Fury of the Gods? Like, I get that that's a recent movie, but bounding into comics, I really wish you would do better than this. Lucy Liu is a good, talented, fun actress that has had an illustrious, at least by modern day standards, career. I would not have gone with Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Watson was portrayed throughout the series as an Asian woman rather than a white man, and I mean, to be fair, I thought this was dumb then, and this is well before any of the culture war nonsense. Again, this is back in 2012. The culture war stuff didn't start till around 2014, and didn't really ramp up until about 2016, give or take, 2015. But even then, I thought this was dumb and thought, man, Americans don't know how to do, IPs that come from other countries. And I had this thought because I grew up an anime fan, and I've seen, America bastardize anime and Japanese productions time and time again. I saw the live-action bastardization of Old Boy, for example. And, yeah, so I just was never a fan of this stuff before it was, a political thing to not be a fan of it. But, yeah, all in all, like, there's really not a whole lot to say about this. As of writing, Watson has yet to receive an official release date, and does anyone care about the official release date? Because the show is going to probably be canceled after a single season. In all reality, is the race swap an issue? I mean, yes and no. It's not an issue in that, black people shouldn't be in TV shows. No, that would be stupid, that'd be silly, that'd be asinine. No one thinks that way. However, let's call it for what it is. CBS is clearly out there trying to push an agenda. The individuals behind this are trying to push an agenda because that's all it is nowadays. Whenever you see modern day remakes, they are always, look at Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's Mr. and Mrs. Smith is now a black and Asian couple. Now, again, does that matter to me? No, I'll be real. I don't even like the original version of Mr. and Mrs. Smith when it's white people. But it's very obvious that there's, an inherent thought that, hey, we need to cast more diversity. And I just think that's the wrong way to go about it. I think the right way to go about things is casting the best person for the job. And if that person ends up being somebody of a diverse background, hey, more power to them. However, what we're seeing is people outright. We see directors. I spoke with Director X, if you guys don't remember, and he outright said, we planned on XYZ character being black. And he also, to be fair to him, did say we didn't plan on XYZ other characters being black. They were just cast that way. But the fact that they had certain characters in their mind that they knew had to be like this is very strange. Now, if you're working with already established source material characters, I think that you should, honor the source material. But again, this isn't even really about the race swap thing, because this show shouldn't exist. No one's asking for this. This is not an original idea. This is the sloppy seconds of a famous IP transposed onto another famous IP's, motifs and story arcs, and just given the name Watson because it's a recognizable brand, which is the most lazy form of storytelling you can do, right next to just throwing out C-tier superheroes and hoping they're the next Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the next most lazy thing you could do when it comes to storytelling. Where are the new, unique, fresh, original ideas? Like, Mickey 18 that we're getting later on this year. I'm really excited for that film. Are you kidding me? We got a Robert Pattinson space sci-fi? Alright, I'm all in, baby. But this? Who's gonna watch this? Who watches CBS? People in their 70s, I guess, that haven't cut the cord yet and don't rely on streaming, but I don't know. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, and tell me, what is nerdier than, 19th century British literature? But I don't always cover this sort of nerd news. I also cover anime, movies, music, video games, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon, and remember, it's all here in the nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.